We're now joined by LA Galaxy head coach Greg Vanney.
Right. Greg, can you give us a semi-brief analysis of Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever you talk about Seattle and playoffs and these time of year, you have to talk about the culture that they have at the club, the grittiness, the resilience, the maturity. They've played in a lot of big games and won a lot of big games. And so for me, it's just been a recycling of players and personalities over the years that even as new guys come or young guys come through, the culture is set that these guys, they work and they grind and they make things difficult, they defend, and obviously they have quality attacking players and can hurt you on the attack. But the first thing whenever is just the culture that's been created by Brian, his staff, and the veteran players that have come through there is one that you always have to be aware of when you're playing them. It's going to take every play, every moment to get rid of them and to put them out in a situation like this. I mean, aside from that, they've been, the best defending team in the league. They are, again, committed, connected, good individual defenders. The center backs do a great job of protecting their goal. They can deal with crosses because they have big guys. They do a lot of things well on the defensive side from a collective standpoint as well as an individual standpoint. So, we've got to find ways to break them down, create goal-scoring chances, finish our moments when we have them, and then, when you look on the other side, they're very capable in possession of breaking you down, but they also have some guys in transition. Obviously Jordan Morris and De La Vega now, and others who could pop out there that are also very difficult to manage in transition situations. So, like all good teams, and any team that gets to this point in the season, you probably have your thing that you're really good at, but you also have multiple ways that you can win a game, and these guys have shown that they can go to difficult places and win games.
You've got some individuals who you wouldn't sit there and say, oh, this is a great individual necessarily, but they do so well in their role for them.
Yeah, well, look, one of the most impressive players from my perspective, even in the playoffs, has been Christian Roldan. The effort, the commitment, the work rate that he has. Obviously, he has quality, but the amount of work that he was doing the other night to help cover back on not allowing Bouanga to get one-on-one against players on the outside, and the distances he was sprinting and covering, and then being a part of the possession and the attack. I mean, it was super impressive. And Obed Vargas has come along as a really nice young player who moves and glides around the field with the ball. So those are just some of the names, again, that are just guys that are they're competitors first and foremost, and on any given day they're laying it all out there.
And we got a goalkeeper who can make the saves.
Yeah, I don't talk about that guy. No. But yeah, Stefan has been doing it for years, and he does it the biggest way on the biggest stages, and
painfully so.
So you got to make sure when you finish for real, and you put it in the best spot you can, because his positioning is so good, his reflexes are good, and again, just his leadership quality and his presence in the back is it's outstanding. And he's, again, from back to front, he's the starting reason why that team is so good from a defensive standpoint.
Lastly, if we go back a decade or so, right in there, this was one of the best rivalries in MLS. I think since Bruce left, it's diminished a bit. Is it still a rivalry? Is this a game that can reignite that?
Yeah, I think you have two teams with championship pedigree. You have the biggest moment that these two teams could play each other is this. It's in a Western Conference final. So I think anytime you have that formula together, it can reignite a rivalry. It can reignite any kind of passion into this type of a game. And so I think so. I think this is going to be a really, really hard-fought battle from both teams, and we'll see what the residual is after the fact. But I definitely think it can resurge. Have a resurgence of the competitive spirit that used to be. When both teams are playing well and are cup contenders, then I think it naturally just lends to being a rivalry.
You guys haven't played them, I think, since May, maybe June, I think.
Yeah, we played them in the Leagues Cup. That Leagues Cup game there. But yeah, we played a few times over the course of the year. The game at the beginning of the season was here, and I think it was like the field was like a swamp a little bit, if you recall. That really wet and water everywhere. Then 2 times up there. So obviously some familiarity with their group. I think Deion's played maybe 30 minutes of those 3 games, coming back from injury or injured, and I think both lineups will look different as we go into these games.
I think Riqui missed one of them too.
He did, yeah. I think 1, if not 2. I don't know if Riqui played up in Seattle this year. Yeah, he didn't, right? Yeah, so I would say he's trying to get off the turf, but that wasn't why. But yeah.
Have you seen him sort of take over this season really and just get things moving throughout the course of this season?
With Riqui, his movement it's like perpetually he's there, he's moving, and it's so difficult for a team to mark. I mean, if you want to man mark him, you're going to have a guy running all over the field into these different areas of the field, trying to deal with somebody who is so good on the move and so quick and so shifty and uses his teammates to manipulate actions and plays. It's so hard to do that. So then if you don't do that, then you're zoning, and now he's finding little gaps and pockets and playing, and so he's so difficult to organize the defending around. So you got to decide, are you going to press and really try to get after, which then you have to deal with speed and different things that are on the other side, or are you going to sit low? And so I think the starting point is it's just so hard to really game plan around a player like Riqui. And because of that, inside of the game, he's able to find his moments, his space, the moments where he can face forward. He's looking forward and really start attacks and build speed into attacks. When he does that, he can change games. And so, the last couple of games, he's able to get lots of touches on the ball and get the group into a flow, into a rhythm in the attacking side. And as space is opened up, then it becomes deadly for him, because he's so hard to contain when there's actual space to move.
Anything else? Anybody else? Let's go to Zoom. Alex Ruiz, go ahead.
Hey Greg, thank you so much for your time. Obviously you have a history with Brian Schmetzer meeting in the playoffs. This time around, though, you're meeting with your LA Galaxy. Is a part of you excited to face off against him in the Western Conference Finals with this LA Galaxy team? Obviously with Toronto, but now first time with LA Galaxy.
Yeah, I don't know if excited is the right word, but I look forward to playing against his teams. They're always just so difficult to play against. As I've said, he's, over the years, whether it's playoffs or regular season, his teams are just so difficult to break down, difficult to contain. They're resilient for 90 minutes and good in a lot of different ways, like I said, whether it's set pieces or others. And these, and knowing him, he'll have this group really prepared, and knowing him as much as anything, he's going to have this team ready to compete and to fight and to battle and to play every single play like it's the biggest play in the game. And that's what makes his team so special, I think, in these big moments is they're just so tough and resilient, and they do all the little things they need to do inside of games to make it difficult to beat them. And in the end, they win a lot of games because of it. So, look, I look forward to seeing him, and I'm sure we'll have a good laugh before the game, because this is, I think, the fourth or fifth time in the last 9 years that we've been in, this type of match where it's all the marbles. And so I know his team will be prepared, but we look forward to being here in LA. That'll be nice in front of our crowd. So.
Yeah, and then on the team, you've got a couple of players who maybe haven't made it this far in the MLS Cup playoffs. Have you been talking to those guys? And just what's the team spirit heading into this game?
Yeah, obviously the spirit's great when you come off of a game where a lot of things go well. You finish a lot of your opportunities, create a lot of opportunities. Again, the atmosphere in the stadium was incredible, and that gets the guys going. And so obviously the energy is great. I don't think, for me, our group, as young as they are, they're pretty mature in understanding the moment. So I think, our conversation is about Seattle, how we're going to try to create chances against them, what things we have to manage on the defensive side to try to protect ourselves. And while the game is big, it's another game in which you got to manage your emotions, and you got to execute on the day and understand what the game is asking us once the game kicks off. They get to choose the way they want to defend us, they choose where they want to attack us, and we've got to find solutions to all those different things inside the game. And that's where our mindset needs to be there, and understanding again what makes us good and what makes us a team that can win on the weekend, and we've got to get to those things.
Go ahead, Rob.
Hey Greg, thanks for your time. Joseph Paintsell this week released a song called Blessings, in which he named the things that he was thankful for. Taking advantage of this holiday season, and then kind of looking back on how far this team has come over the last year, what are you thankful for? Thank you.
Well, first and foremost, I'm thankful that we're training this week and training on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, as long as I've been around the sport, whether it's been in college at UCLA or in the league, if you're training on Thanksgiving Day, then you're doing something right. That means that you're either in, the Final Four at that time at UCLA, or here you're in the Final Four in MLS. So I'm glad we're still together as a group, and we're working towards something big. But ultimately, as I said to somebody, I'm most appreciative and grateful for the people that are around my family and the players, our staff, all the people that are a part of this project and this journey have been amazing. And we're here because of the people. We're not here because of the legacy of the Galaxy or anything. We're here because of the people that are here, that are working together towards a common goal and a vision, and the relationship that we've been able to reestablish, I really think, in a positive way with our fan base and everybody. It's a really positive time to be around the club, and I'm grateful for that, because last year it wasn't that way, and so these moments are not always guaranteed, and so super appreciative of where we are and all those involved in getting to here, and hopefully we can take advantage of the moment. I don't know you do.
Good luck. Say really quick.
Thank you.
Thanksgiving's not quite the same in France, is it?
No.
I spent a Thanksgiving in Italy once.
Yeah, I mean, we still celebrate it in our household, but it wasn't the time of year that was that exciting. It's the first half of the season, and
nobody else is celebrating, and it's
that's right.
Turkey
not so easy to come
they
by.
don't have a parade.
Right.
What's a tactical battle going to be like?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think a lot of it is going to be how they want to go about defending us, and how we're going to solve the problems to try to break them down, and to create goal scoring chances. Obviously, they're good with the ball, and we're going to have to really understand how we want to defend them and deal with those moments and those situations. But I think the first thing for us is to recognize how aggressive they're going to come out and whether they're trying to press us and disrupt us, or whether they're going to sit and try to really clog up spaces and make it difficult for us to penetrate and to get into dangerous areas. So I think a lot of that is how they want to go about trying to neutralize our on the ball moments, because we're at home, I think, as much as anything. And then it's going to be for us how we're going to manage transitions, how we're going to defend when they have the ball, because again, they're a very competent team and very good players in possession. So there'll be a tactical side of all that, and then for us, to be honest, it comes down to how we're going to prevent and defend set pieces. They got us this year in Leagues Cup on 2 set pieces where they kind of just bullied us in front of the goal and headed balls in, and they are a very good team in that regard. And so there's a lot of little tactical battles, but the bigger one I really think is going to come down to again, how aggressive they're going to come out and try to defend us, and what their posture will look like, and some of that, and then we are going to have to solve that problem throughout the course of the game.
We got one last one.
Your Toronto side one of them had the record for goals in MLS Cup playoffs, and you're already only 2 goals away from that. The offensive output has been unreal so far. So what has been the key to that? What are you seeing in opposition? What is happening on the field for the Galaxy that is producing so many goals so far?
Yeah, I think part of that is intention right from the start. In the game, first series, especially at home, we were able to get out to a good start, get goals, and whenever you're in a playoff environment, I think goals do really kind of change the energy of the game, because especially when it's knockout, teams start to feel like maybe they have to extend themselves a little bit more. They got to get themselves back into the game, and that might happen in the 40th minute. It might happen in the 70th minute. But in the 2 games against Colorado, and especially at their place, once they decided they were really going to try to get out and get at us, and spaces opened up, and they were maybe a little slower closing up behind each other, then it just floodgates open for us. Space to transition into became 3 goals, I think, towards the end of the game, 2 or 3 goals at the end of the game. So I think intention for our group, we haven't just been sitting and passing the ball around. We've been actually really trying to establish right, that our possession is for attacking. Our possession is to create goal-scoring chances, and the timing of those actions have been better in the playoffs, I think, than during some parts of the season. And then execution, you need guys to play at their level, and I think everybody's really playing at their expected level right now. And when you get guys peaking and doing that at the right time, then of course with the qualities in our team, then good things can happen, you know. But I just think playoff environment, sometimes teams, you know, they may come in with an idea that they're going to protect, and then they have to extend, and then what do you do with those situations is what I think has allowed us to. And I would say that of the 2017 team too. You know, it's all kind of the nature of the game because of the playoff environment.
Listen, Greg, one more.
Yep.
You brought Marco back into the starting 11 last week. What was you thinking behind that, and how does his style play toward Seattle?
Yeah, you know, I felt like in a game like that, especially at home and against a team that was going to probably take up a pretty low block, 5 in the back, things like that. It might be a good moment for Marco to help us to unlock some of those situations. And so, you know, that was part of the idea. Obviously, Marco was extraordinarily talented and smart and clever about the positions he's taking up, and again, establishing, you know, continuity with the guys on his side just for timing and for different things like that. And also he does a great job of trying to help us to control our rhythm inside of the game. You know, when we want to be fast, when we want to slow things down. You know, he gets his touches in key areas of the field where he can make some quality decisions in that regard as well. And then the third part was set piece quality, right? I mean, the quality of the corners, the quality of the service from wide channels. You know, the Deon's goal, he picked it out and dropped it right on his head. So, in this era in the playoffs, every little phase of the game matters, and so, you know, we felt like maybe he could give us, which he certainly did, some of those qualities inside of the game. So, and each game's a little different. We didn't use them in that regard, and because we felt like the games against Colorado would be different. So we have to analyze, you know, what we think this is going to look like and make some decisions accordingly. So.
Might the way Seattle plays in midfield, might the way they play with aggressiveness, might that favor Mark?
Yeah, I mean, it might. It's you know, we'll sit down this week and kind of talk through it and see where everybody's at physically. It's an awkward one, you know. We don't talk about all of our percentages and how guys are healing in there, but to go 23 days without a game and then play a 90-minute game, you know, we want to make sure guys are recovering right, they're ready, all that kind of stuff. They're ready to come back to another duel and competitive battle. So, you know, Marco wasn't out today just because of trying to turn him around. He had a little bit of an issue inside of the game, which was one of the reasons we took him out. So I want to make sure he's ready to go, but then we'll make some decisions again on what we think is the right tactical setup. And those two are very different in how they go about things, and so they how we want to set up at the start of a game will impact some of that, of course.
Yeah, and this is the toughest team that you've played in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think in terms of getting in our space, making things difficult, again, that grittiness and toughness is going to be there, and you know, we've got to manage all of those moments.
All right, thanks for your time, Greg.
Okay, thanks
Thank you
very much.
much, Greg.
Appreciate it. Yep.